across all these roles and all the other roles that comes up in the partnerships in the communication space, there are certain transferable skills that keep coming up again and again. So now let's look at these five that we have highlighted and how they are mapped to these opportunities. So the first one is strategic thinking and visioning. So this you could see in roles like the communication lead role or the Asia's regional director role, where leaders are expected to design overarching strategies and not just execute campaigns. The second one is stakeholder engagement and relationship management. Like a lot of you said in the Mentimeter as well, cross team collaboration. So this would again become very crucial for roles like fundraising and comms lead or head of CSR partnerships, where success sort of depends on cultivating and sustaining donors, corporates, and partners. The third one, communication and storytelling, central to advocacy lead and comms lead roles again, where narrative building, media engagement, and digital storytelling really drive a lot of impact. The fourth one is negotiation and influencing, again, core to Asia's regional director role, CSR head role, where closing deals and shaping high-level partnerships require very strong negotiation and influencing skills here as well. The last one I've mentioned, it is creative problem solving. So now this would particularly become very important in roles like manager partnerships and skillings, where designing innovative, scalable programs in a resource constrained setting is the key. So these are a few skills. Now I get this question a lot that maybe when we see a JD and we don't see an exact fit with our experience with the JD, what do we do? So what you can definitely do is talk about a certain transferable skill that you would get into the new position that you are applying for. I think something that I have observed working in the recruitment spaces, as women, we would not apply to a position unless and until we see that, oh, we are 100% fit for the role. And whereas with men, I've seen that even if they, like, I don't want to generalize it, but this has been a study here as well, that they would apply to a role even if their profile is a 10% match. But as women, I think I'm also personally sort of, I've also done this in the past, but we would only apply to a role when we see, oh, we are a 100% match. But it's important to sort of zoom out and think what are a certain, these are a few examples. There are definitely more transferable skills that you could bring to the table or to the role, right? But it's important to sort of, think about these skills that you bring to the table and sort of then map these with the role requirements. So I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about this as well. So Anna, if you could go on to the next slide, please. Yeah, I think this is a very important one. Again, a question that I have gotten a lot as a recruiter is, when you say partnerships, what does it mean? Because partnerships is a very overarching term, right? In the social impact sector, at least. So here's a quick distinction that is going to be helpful in this space. So in the social impact sector, partnerships often fall into two categories. The first one is business development or sales partnerships. So these are revenue focused, like CSR collaborations, fundraising programs, large donor engagements, getting the money from various donors, various partners. So to tie it up again with the roles that we were talking about, think of roles like CSR head or regional director or the lead fundraising operations and comms person, right? So they would need, their partnerships would mean revenue focused partnerships. We are getting in these money through grants or different proposals, right? Now, the second type of partnerships in the social impact space are programmatic partnerships. Now, these are more collaboration focused, like joint advocacy campaigns or co-delivering a skills program. So again, these are the two roles where a programmatic partnership would come in. Now, many roles are a blend of both, and being able to navigate across these partnership types is what what makes leaders in this space very, very valuable.
For mid-career professionals with 15 to 20 plus years of work experience, what kind of roles and opportunities are truly out there, and how can we identify the ones that align with our skills and aspirations? Ankita, if you can take this one up.
Sure. I think that the very, very good question here, I must say, because once you hit that 15 years of experience, like that range, then it often you feel like what next? So at this stage, when once you are 15, 20 plus years in your career, organization organizations are not really looking for task managers. They're looking for leaders. So here again, opportunities would ideally fall into three spaces. So senior leadership, let's say in partnerships and fundraising, heading CSR partnerships, donor relationships, or regional business development, like we spoke about in a certain roles. The second would be strategic communications and advocacy leadership. So owning the narrative, driving thought leadership, representing the organization externally. The third kind could be program and ecosystem leadership. So leading collisions, influencing policies, steering large scale initiatives. Now, to talk about finding the right fit for you, it is important that you map your core transferable skills. Like, are you stronger at negotiation or business development, or at storytelling or advocacy, right? So it's important to map those transferable skills. Also reflecting upon, if like I'm just going to take an example of the topic today only, partnerships and communication. So reflect on whether you prefer revenue driven partnerships or programmatic collaborations, because often when you would look at the job description, you would be able to see if there are numbers mentioned, if there's a revenue target mentioned, you would understand that what we just saw in the last slide, that this would come in the revenue driven partnership part. So you need to ask and reflect, what would you prefer? Would you prefer a revenue driven partnership or a programmatic collaboration? And at this stage, again, also, I think culture and overall alignment with the mission also matter a lot, because when they're looking for a senior leader, the mission has to be lot in alignment with your personal value system as well.
Thanks, Ankita. I think you've described that very well, and I'm sure that whoever has asked this question, the number of people that have asked this question, do find resonance with this. If not, if you have any follow up question to this, please feel free to put that in the chat box, and Gurleen can take it up. The second question that we haven't only gotten for this particular functional area, but across a lot of different sessions, is that many applications nowadays we see that they go through AI screening, and what truly makes a CV stand out, and how can we, as in the applicants, use AI tools without overdoing it? Also, does a cover letter still matter? And if yes, what should it highlight?
I think this question, I have also gotten this question a lot in the past few months, especially since the time the entire AI revolution and everything has been in place, right? So to answer this question, yes, many applications would go through AI-based screening system. What you could do so that your application is not, let's suppose, rejected by an ATS which is using an AI, is using the exact keywords from the job description. So like if, for example, in a job description as a requirement, it says stakeholder engagement, do not rewrite it as relationship management. So for your application to go through the next level, when a lot of organizations would use applicant tracking system along with AIs, it's important to use those certain keywords from the job description. Again, something that I have observed, especially with mid-senior, senior level folks, is uh, the resume could become very, very cluttered, and it could become very, very chaotic. So keep the formatting very simple, very clean, because once an AI or an ATS sees a very cluttered resume or a CV, it rejects it. The third I would like to say is show impact and not tasks. So if we talk about corporate partnerships, let's say, mention raised $5 million through corporate partnerships. It's much stronger than if you just mention handled fundraising. So I think those are a few things that you could do. AI tools can definitely help polish your CV, but don't let them stripe away your voice. So, and as a recruiter, I can tell you, we can definitely spot a generic CV. So use AI, but use AI to your own benefit. Just don't let AI do the entire thing for you. Your resume and your voice should be there very authentically. And the last bit of the question, I think I'll just quickly take a few seconds to answer that as well. Yes, cover letters still matter, especially in partnerships and communications role. They give context that AI cannot. So, use them to show why you are motivated, why this role matters to you, and how your story connects to the organization's mission. So that's what sort of makes you memorable. And not all organizations would have like a mandatory requirement for a cover letter, but few organizations still do. So definitely cover letters are a big yes. And customize it as much as you can to show your authentic self. Those will be really, really helpful. A very interesting question. And again, a question that I've been asked a lot in the past. I definitely don't think if you have different CVs for different positions that you apply for would sound made up or sound like too much effort, right? In fact, I would suggest that for example, you should always have one base CV, and alongside that one base CV, you should always customize that CV or that resume to the role that you're applying for. The chances of your, because again, like with big organizations who would get 10,000, 5,000 CVs in a day, it's humanly impossible to look at all of them manually. In organizations here again, like if for a role, if we get like over 1,500 applications, we would still take like a week to go through all of them, right? So that is where an applicant tracking system helps us pick out the best lot of the CVs. So to answer your question, I think it's in fact important to customize your CV for a position that you're applying for. The chances of your CV getting shortlisted would be way higher. I understand when you use an AI and you say, okay, take out these keywords from the JD and put it in my CV, that might not like it might not feel very authentic, but the way you do it, sometimes it's just about changing a few words here and there and highlighting the words that the job requirement is asking for.
That I've always had a bit of a leaning towards impact and purpose. I've always enjoyed working in that space with clients in that sort of sector. But I think that, around COVID in 2020, when, the great shutdown happened, that's when it really sort of hit me. And I said, you know what, I need to focus on this a lot more because I just felt that I needed to be doing something. I needed to be more active. I needed to be making a difference, making a change. So that's when I started really focusing on the impact sector. And I prefer to call it the impact sector rather than the development sector because it's a larger span, I guess, and it covers more organizations because I believe impact can be led by not just the development sector, but also by the corporate sector because they are actively looking to partner with purpose. So that's sort of a little bit about me. In a post-COVID world, all organizations are looking to align purpose with their objectives. And I think the key to that is having thoughtful communications that help you craft that strategy and put it out in the world in a visible manner that'll help not just the brand, but I think the achievements as well of the brand. Many people thought when AI came, like it's been what, 2 years now, 1.5, 2 years. Everyone thought that communications is done as a sector, but I don't think that's the case. I think that we as communications professionals have to equip ourselves in the best way possible to be able to use AI to our benefit to make ourselves more efficient. Very simple example, it can save us like half a day's work in terms of just something very basic like drafting content, right? But as I think Ankita had mentioned earlier as well, you have to personalize it. You have to add your layer to it to make it unique, to make it stand out. That humanizing effect does need to be there. The other aspect that I think will not change and which will also continue to be important when we're talking about communications is evidence and data. I think that is always going to be a crucial part of building credibility. You have to have the data, you have to have the evidence, you have to be able to succinctly incorporate it in any conversations that you are having or any content you're putting out there. Keeping in mind, of course, and this is a big one, keeping in mind, of course, that attention spans are shrinking day by day. I think the latest stat on that is 6 seconds per person. So really have to crunch data into small bite-sized bits that people will absorb, and people will absorb in a way that is credible to them. that they can say, oh my God, yeah, like, you know, like I just shared this 6-second statistic. I obviously found that information somewhere and managed to retain it because it was in a bite-sized manner. So I think these are parts that are changing. I think I'm just looking at my notes. I think the other aspect I did want to think about is, like I had mentioned earlier, right? It's not just the impact sector standing alone in a silo. I think all organizations, even the corporate sector, are looking to add purpose to their brand visibility. And in fact, adding that purpose allows them to gain more credibility and gain better visibility. So you'll find a lot of them are looking to align with impact or purpose-led communications. A very relevant question. I think this goes back to what I had said about innovation. We have to look at innovative ways to use AI. I think it's important for us to use AI. I think perhaps one of the things that become important is skilling yourself in the use of AI. Because if you're, just a simple example is just ChatGPT, right? If you're able to prompt it correctly, you can have very, very on-point outcomes. Everyone says, oh, AI hallucinates, but it doesn't. If you prompt it correctly, and I think there are 5 pointers that you have to give. I can't remember what exactly they are. I had read this somewhere. But if you sort of tick the boxes on all the 5 aspects that you give it as a prompt, then you get correct outcomes. Similarly, like as an agency, I would love to hire someone who is very proficient in AI, can do, you know, presentations in like 10 minutes rather than 10 days, can, you know, give me really quick analysis in minutes rather than days. Same thing. I would want to see someone who has equipped themselves with AI skills rather than just someone who says, oh, AI is taking away our jobs. I think the challenge here is to be able to work with AI.